So ideally, you would already have the software installed. In this case, I would recommend Audacity because it's free. However, of course, you are welcome to any bit of editing software, but if you are using Audacity like I'm using in this example, it might be a great place to learn and follow along just so that you can actually use the editing software and get your voiceovers sent over to wherever it needs to get to. So the first thing is you just need to understand layout. What you're looking at here is where the waveform will go. So the waveform meaning the recording, that will go right in the middle here as we press record. Just so you know what you're looking at, in the top corner there, you've got pause, just the same as on a tape or CD player or whatever other recording device that you might use, or even on your standard recording software. So you've got pause, play, stop, skip to the start, skip to the end, and then you've got record, which is that big red circle. Those are the main options that you'll need. Everything else, you can see there's a little microphone there, which just shows the microphone recording level. So whether that's going to be high or low depends on the settings that you need. Your playback, which is again high and low there, minuses and plus. And then the most important thing I would say is just remember that you've selected the microphone that you'll be using. In my case, I'm using a Blue Yeti microphone, so it's the second one in my option. So I've clicked that, ensured it's done, and then I've also got to ensure that I'm recording in stereo as opposed to mono. The reason being is that when you do record, it can happen that at times it only appears in one ear. So it might only appear on the left ear or on the right ear once you're actually listening to the audio. So I would always recommend recording in stereo to ensure that that doesn't become an issue. And from there, of course, you can see that there's the start and end selection. So that's just a timer showing you how long has passed, particularly during the playback. And then there's a timer ongoing there, more important whilst recording in playback. And what you should remember is that most recordings take place in a setting of 44-100 here. And that will also be important if you use any other editing software. Just remember that you should also have that preset there. It's usually already there, but it's 44-100 just in case you're ever looking for it. So what I'll do now is I'll be hitting the record button and then I'll be recording a voiceover. The voiceover will be completely made up, but it's just to give you an example of how to record. So what I'll be doing is I'll be pressing the big red button and then you'll be seeing the waveform appear. This is a recording from a voiceover artist. I'm going to delete everything after what I just said. To stop it, you press the stop button, or of course you can press space. Because I know exactly what it looked like, I can just select everything I didn't need by simply using my mouse, and then I drag it all the way across. And then again, I can just press delete or else on the keyboard, or else I can press edit and then delete there, and that gets rid of what I don't need. Now, again, it's important to note that it's known as destructive, meaning that any changes are permanent and cannot be reversed unless you press edit and undo delete. So that brings it back. However, you might have been in a situation where you've already gone too far along. And by that, I mean you've deleted this. Then you've also deleted this. So that's permanent and that cannot be undone unless you do that. However, it can get a bit messy if you've already gone quite far along in the process and you've made a few undo deletes and you've already made some changes. So in order to restore it back, you're going to have to undo delete a few times. When you're in this situation, you can refer back to this video and it might make a bit more sense for you at that point. However, the important thing to note is that any changes are permanent unless you press undo delete at that point. So that's how you record and edit. Again, if you did want to take it out, then you can select what you want, edit and delete, and that deletes that from there, leaving just the audio that you wanted to hear in the clip. If you're quite happy with the volume settings, what you can do from there is ensure that you've gone to File, Export. You can then export as MP3 or WAV. I would always go for MP3, being from a radio background. We used to export as WAV, however, the file is bigger. So that means that when you store it on your hard drive, it will take up more space on your hard drive than you would like. So the preferred method, because the difference between WAV and MP3 is negligible to the human ear, it would be preferred to go for the MP3 format. However, you are always welcome to export it as a WAV, but I would always personally recommend going for MP3. So export as MP3, as in this example. From there, you can write in a name. In this case, I'm going to write test3. I'm going to ensure that the presets are there, and I'm clicking joint stereo. That's the preferred one for Audacity if you are using that, and save. From there, it might ask you the artist name. I've written Tom and Jerry as an example, of course. You may wish to fill that in and you may wish not to. That's absolutely fine if you do, and absolutely fine if you don't. As long as it's got the file name, that's absolutely all that we need to know. From there, you can click OK. It will then begin exporting, and that's you. And that's how you record and edit in Audacity.